Hey, what's up? Back at you with another video. Hope you're good. Today we're getting back to some political business and we're looking at a video here by Renaldo Gouws. And it's titled, Does the ANC Want the USA to Sanction South Africa? And today I'm feeling kind of chilled and relaxed and I'm hoping to just listen to him with an ear that is not seeking to argue. I've been picking up with my objective eyes and mind that there's a proposed renaming of a street to a name of Leila Khaled, and I had a listen to Joel Pollard, who was on an interview the other day. I think it was with Biz News TV, and he says that South Africa, the ANC and the EFF included, some within the ANC, all within the EFF, have hostility towards the United States, and taking Israel to the ICJ, that international court, was not only in protection of the people who are the victims of Israel, but also a show from some people within South Africa, from the Muslim community, from the South Africans, ANC, who are staunch communists, who just want to pair up and show the United States a middle finger. Ever since I've been a child, I've seen the flag of the United States being burned almost every single year on my screens wherever I've watched TV. So we seem to have a situation where there are USA haters, USA flag burners, USA separatists. We want a USA South Africa Brexit. They want to break away. Let me not say we, because to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with the United States as a country or their people. In fact, I had some pretty big plans set out this year to work and maybe live in the United States to start a business over there. I was busy actually registering a US LLC in Delaware. I was setting up, a corporation over there so that I can hopefully go over there and start operating the business. But there's a whole lot of complexities. Starting an LLC, opening a business in the USA is something that is pretty easy and straightforward. And anyone outside of the US territory can do that and start making money, having a US bank account, paying taxes, etc., etc. But being there personally in your physical self to operate your business over there, that then requires you to also have a visa. And so I was actually, for the second half of last year, from June until December, I was pretty much looking at the H-1B visa. There's also something called the entrepreneur parole, where if you can demonstrate that you are somebody from outside the US and you'd be able to come to the United States and create jobs for United States citizens, you get like a 2.5 year parole, a period where you'll be allowed there, and there are targets of revenue that you must make as a business to maintain your parole there, which gets extended after every 2.5 years if you're making a certain amount of money and you are demonstrating your promise to hire Americans. So all of this that I'm telling you comes from the guy who, for the greater part so far in my interaction with Renaldo Gouws regarding these issues around South Africa-US relations, I've been sounding like Mujahideen, somebody who hates the United States, hates their guts, hates their flag, hates their colors. Maybe I might have been looking like I'm some black ISIS or something like that, a total rebel. But truly honest, I'm not. And I'm actually very disappointed to see Trump come back into office and him returning with these protectionist, centrist, anti-migrant, anti-globalization things that he's coming with. And so I've had quite a number of my business ideas, my objectives, my plans for this year pretty much laid to waste by what is happening in the United States. So my hostility can also be explained to be trauma. I am kind of angry. I had made good contacts. I had spoken to some very higher people in Hollywood. I was planning to go to Los Angeles to go participate in the motion picture and TV commercial industry over there. Or surveillance from, can I really tell you this? Nah, let me not say. let me not mention exactly what I was going to do, but I had reached out to a very high up somebody in Hollywood. I even bought his book, read it, and made contact with him, found his number, found him on WhatsApp, and I told him, yo, I'm a dude in South Africa. I bought your book. There's something that I like very much that you're doing, and I'd like to come and be a participant over there. I'm applying for a visa. I'm applying for entrepreneurial parole. And he said, yo, come along. So extremely sad. So today I'm listening with that ear. I'm listening without rebellion. I am not constantly opposed to Renaldo Gouws in every single way. He's a jackass. He's one who makes it difficult to agree with. He's polarizing, but I am able to just ignore him sometimes and just be human towards him while he's unable to be human towards us. So let's get it.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Ronaldo here. So this video is going to focus on how the ANC has responded to what the United States and specifically President Trump has said with regards to South Africa. Now, I'm not going to spend too much detail on the past because I'm sure most of you know, but if you don't, brief summary. Trump became the president and they initiated DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency in the United States, and it's headed by Elon Musk. Now, in a nutshell, they stopped US aid all across the world in order to see how the money was spent and if it was spent correctly, and if not, they would stop it. Now, in South Africa, what happened was they stopped US aid, but Donald Trump also made a statement about South Africa, which was different to what he's done with other countries. He spoke about the bad treatment of Afrikaners, and then later that changed to minorities. He also spoke about the fact that the Expropriation Act is problematic for the United States, and he spoke about the 142 race-based laws. Eventually, he offered refugee status to Afrikaners, and then that also changed to minorities, to all people that feel that their rights are being violated. So, what's important to note,
you keep saying then change to from Afrikaners to minorities, from Afrikaner farmers to minorities, anyone who feels the need to move to the US who is feeling oppressed. And does minorities mean the white people? Are Indians minorities in South Africa? Chinese, can they get on it? Why has he changed? Did he start out extreme and then rethink what he's been saying? That would be a good sign. It means we're not going towards Armageddon. Perhaps we can yet come to some agreements.
is that all of these things was based on South Africa's past behavior. So it wasn't saying, oh, it's what you're doing now or it's what you're going to do in the future. We feel strongly about these things because of how you acted in the past and what is currently law, right? So Donald Trump was obviously attempting to get the ANC and the GNU to come to the party and just discuss these things adequately so that we could all move forward. We, meaning South Africa and the United States. Unfortunately, we know how South Africa has responded, and what has happened then, of course, is US aid has been stopped completely, as well as PEPFAR, so there's no aid to South Africa from the United States. Now, it's not just South Africa that's affected by that, but clearly, South Africa is now not receiving US aid or PEPFAR funding anymore. All right, so then how does the ANC respond to that? How does the ANC look at mending a relationship with the United States? Well, they do two things, which is in the present now, and it was in the future based on after what had happened with Donald Trump making those statements. The first thing is that they renamed Sandton Drive to a Palestinian terrorist's name, the Leila Khaled Drive. So this is an individual.
Yeah, that's that Muslim influence that I'm noticing is playing in our politics. Honestly, up until this time, I thought that South Africans and those who are communist, of course, would have opposition to the United States as the center of global capitalism. and opposition to the aiding of Israel in the bloodshed in Gaza. But I'm realizing that there's some ideological, spiritual, Muslim anti-United States personalities that are in our government, in our country. You know, I as a black man, I was a fan of politics some time ago. I used to watch Parliament. I used to listen to the news as much as I could. I was constantly on social media. But I'm quite a novice. I am not aware of how deeply other people's ethnicities, like the Muslims and the Khaleds, how much they play into our thing. I guess I'm stereotype black who's thinking about black versus white. And that's constantly the narrative. The Indians, as to what they believe, I just know that they vote DA. The Khaleds, of course, they vote DA. So all of those people, I just watch them as, okay, it's the blacks versus the DAs, the Khaleds and the Indians and the whites. And beyond that, I never think anything about who we are and what other influences and attitudes there are besides those stemming from our skin tone. The spiritual, the Muslims who, of course, have always hated the United States. I never thought that there's such sentiments here, and they are strong enough to actually even propose the naming of Sandton to that of Leila Khaled, a woman who is not South African apparently, who is not a freedom fighter, who's not black. Why aren't we putting there another Nelson Mandela or something like that? Have we run out of names of people who've helped change what our situations were during apartheid? Now, the first name available is a woman who's said to be a Muslim terrorist, supposedly hijacked or tried to hijack planes. I'm still going to look into that. I just straight up jumped into this with my ignorance so that I can come learn, not argue. Let's listen.
That tried to hijack 2 planes. Nobody was killed, but a grenade was, released. Thank God it didn't go off. Otherwise,
Did she succeed in hijacking these 2 planes? Was it at the same time? I'll research, man. Let me stop asking dumb questions.
everybody on board would have died. But this is a terrorist. You can try and call her a freedom fighter, and that's fine. I mean, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, she went onto a hijacked plane twice, and innocent people were on there, and she was willing to kill those innocent people to make
Let me 1.3x speed this.
a point. And that's a terrorist in my mind. So the point that I'm making is, instead of considering how the United States will deal with this, because the US consulate is in Sandton Drive. Now, we have read many times that, this is done on purpose to annoy the US. And if you don't believe me, you can it's quite clear that the ANC is now trying to sell relationships with the US, and the reason is right here. Nomvuka Mokonyane, who's the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, has in the past emphasized,
Hey, it's Nomvula Mokonyane, you idiot. You've been making jokes about black people's pronunciation of names. And of course, you're responding to me dissing Chris White for calling Hlamulo Humulolo. You screwed up. It's Nomvula Mokonyane. Point to me. Next time you mispronounce something, I'll be on you.
that her party supported the renaming of Sandton Drive not only in solidarity with the Palestinians, but also as an insult to the US. Now, at a rally last year, she said, "We want the US Embassy to change the letterhead to number 1, Leila Khaled Drive. We are sending a message that they cannot dominate us and tell us what to do. It must be in their faces, it must be in their computers and on their letterheads." So it's quite clear that the ANC is not trying to mend relationships with the United States. We all know what the consequence of this is going to be. And that is what I actually want to focus on. Now think about this for a second. The ANC is running out of excuses as to why they aren't delivering on their promises and why South Africa is not improving. If you think about it, they have used colonization and apartheid as an excuse for the last 31 years. Now, majority of people in this country are starting to realize that you can only blame apartheid and colonization for so long before it is your fault because of the fact that you've been in government for 31 years and you've had trillions of rands at your disposal to fix this country and to provide the services that you wanted to offer. So I've got this outlook that I think that the ANC does not want to mend relationships with the United States. In actual fact, I believe that the ANC want sanctions in South Africa because of the fact that South Africa is going backwards so quickly. And I mean, you can just look outside, look at the state of the roads, look at streetlights, look at the potholes, look at infrastructure, look at the crime rate, look at the unemployment rate. There are many things that's wrong in South Africa, and it is just getting worse and worse because the ANC does not know how to deal with this. And the budget is just the latest example. Most parties in the GNU did not support a 0.5% VAT hike. And initially it was 2%. And the ANC still went ahead despite the fact that the GNU partners said that this shouldn't happen. So we still don't know whether this budget is going to pass or not. So the ANC is in a position where they know that their failures are the reason that South Africa is in the state it's in. And they know that the apartheid excuse is not going to work anymore. And they've tried the colonialism excuse, and that is also not going to fly anymore. So they need a new excuse. And the new excuse will be sanctions. It's the same that Robert Mugabe did with Zimbabwe. When things started going backwards in Zimbabwe, it was the West. It was the sanctions that were to blame, not their failure to improve the country. And it's the same in South Africa. The ANC knows that their excuses aren't going to fly anymore. They tried it the last election and they lost a massive chunk of voters. That's the first time that they went below 50% and almost 40%. So they know that they need a new excuse. And
are you saying that the ANC is screwing up South Africa's chances of survival before they go under? They are severing ties with the allies that would help the DA be a better ruling party if the DA were to make that happen. I don't know. Are you saying the ANC sees a possibility where they lose and this country has a white president who now has to restore relations with the United States rather than continue on the existing relationships? So things should become hell if the ANC is leaving, and this is one of the things that they are doing? I'm listening, man. Tell me.
According to them, in their minds, they just got a gift from the United States, because if sanctions are implemented in South Africa and things inevitably go backwards, they can blame the West. They can blame the United States. And that is why they're not trying to mend relationships with the United States. That's why they even have an ambassador, Ebrahim Rasool, that made the statements that he made. Now, the question is, did he make those statements out of his own accord, or maybe was there somebody that said that is what he should say? That's another question, because Cyril Ramaphosa has not condemned him. So Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC has actually said that they will get a debriefing from him when he gets back, even though the video evidence is there for everybody to see. So what I'm trying to say is that my opinion is that the ANC does not want to mend relationships with the United States. In fact, they want to get sanctioned in the hopes that the other BRICS nations will then come to the party and help them financially, which we know won't happen because India and Russia is already all in on Maga and the United States. And it looks like they want to blame the inevitable failure of South Africa on the West because of sanctions. Because as soon as sanctions hit South Africa, if your street lights isn't fixed, if your streets aren't, the street markings aren't painted, if the street lights aren't working, if infrastructure is failing, they can go, it's because of the United States. It's because of these sanctions that the West has put on us. And that is scary. And I think that a lot of people need to call out this agenda from the ANC, because it's quite clear that that's what they're trying to do. I mean, if you are a nation and you're trying to mend relationships with a country that clearly has a lot of power and provides a lot of trade, I mean, they are its second biggest trading partner behind China. So if we lose that trade, we lose a lot. And inflation is inevitable, and the economy suffering and unemployment rising will definitely happen. So this is one of those situations where people need to speak out and say, we see what you are doing, and we won't fall for your bullshit when it inevitably happens. Because it's quite clear that the ANC does not want to mend relationships with the US, and they want sanctions to be implemented so that they can say, hey, this is our new apartheid excuse, and we can ride this for the next 5 to 10 years. Because they will probably use the sanctions to go, see, we are trying something different, and now the West, the racist West, the oppressors are trying to once again bring us down. We are trying to give land to the masses, and this is what the racist West is doing against us. You can already see the narrative that is going to be driven once sanctions hit South Africa. And we know that there are millions of people that will fall for that bullshit. And it's unfortunate, but we need to call it out. And unfortunately, mainstream media is batting for the ANC. Instead of calling out this nonsense, they are defending what the ANC is doing. And to an extent, some media houses are defending Ibrahim Rasool. They are defending the renaming of Sandton Drive to Leila Khaled. So it's unfortunate. But I'm just hoping that you realize that that is in actual fact what's happening in South Africa. Anyway, in conclusion, don't fall for the bullshit. Call it out. Use social media and spread the word that, it seems that the ANC is trying to want to get sanctions on South Africa. Well, give me your opinion. Is it just me, or is this something that you're seeing that's a potential thing that the ANC wants to do because this is their golden apartheid excuse that they can carry for the next 10 to 15 years and garner support and garner votes out of it? Let me know. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button. Please be sure to subscribe.
Yo, Ronaldo, before you go, man, I heard you say that the Indians and the Russians are in with Maga, so the South Africans can just pretty much forget getting a new boyfriend to fund our lifestyle and our medication. And as you said Maga there, I got quickly reminded. I've been dealing with entertainment news. I forgot where we kind of left off our thing. You are a person liking the FAFO stuff, and I've come up with a term. The FAFOs are the fascist folk. Thank you. Let's go to Maga. I was trying to investigate the possibility of Trump being the Antichrist, and I was looking at a presentation by a theologian, a Christian, an evangelical, who was talking about Maga having something to do with the Church of Satan. And I went and quickly did a perplexity search while you were speaking, and it says the association of Maga with Satanism. In the context of the Church of Satan, Maga is used as a title for members of the priesthood, derived from the term magus, which historically refers to a wise man or magician. The text is right in front of you right now on screen. However, the Church of Satan itself is an aesthetic organization that does not worship Satan, but uses the figure symbolically to represent individualism and human nature. Yeah, there you have it. And of course, that's a lie there, that the Church of Satan and satanic people do not worship Satan and this is just a caricature. Of course, no one will straight up say, we worship Satan openly like that, but I've seen many Satanists who say that they worship the devil. Absolutely. So man, as you can hear, Maga means one of the priesthood. One thing that I've noticed about people in the esoteric, people who worship and commune with evil spirits that have been on this planet for a long time, longer than human beings, is that there's this incredible intelligence. There's coincidences that are never coincidences. People just have to look at them, realize what they're looking at, or deny it. You see, like the Sieg Heil, for example, Elon Musk did it twice on stage. There are people who deny what they are looking at. There are people who accept that he did a Nazi salute. And today, his company, Tesla, is really crashing. Things are going very, very bad, and the brand has suffered very serious reputational damage. So, back to the Maga. Bro, Maga, for a name to become so popular, written everywhere on caps, everybody walking around with it. That's one thing I know about the devil. The devil is a narcissist. He's a show-off. He likes to be seen, but he likes to be hidden. Those desires seem equal. The devil wants to be seen as much as he wants to be hidden. And there's a very, very, very sophisticated and clever thing that I respect by seeing things like Maga, tracing them to the priesthood of Satan, and then just watching it out in the open. People believe that, no, that's Make America Great Again. Do you now see when the EFF said that Trump is head of the Ku Klux Klan? And I said that the Ku Klux Klan and them calling their head of their movement the Grand Wizard. Are you seeing these similarities that I was telling you about? I did mention at the beginning of your video that Ku Klux Klanists are sorcerers. The hate those people exhibit does not come from something that comes from a natural human heart, a hatred towards another person. There's a spirit there, and we black people know about these things. Black people deal with these kind of things more so in the current developed world. It's the black person who's currently holding on to magic and powers of the occult. But we know very much that white people are also in possession of such powers. However, they're able to hide them nicely within secret societies. The black person has practiced these things in the open. So, the Church of Satan has a title for the priesthood. It's Maga. The Ku Klux Klan, their leader is called the Grand Wizard. You can see Satanism and magic all over there. What about the FAFOs? You seem to be quickly gravitating towards this new term, Ronaldo. Could FAFO also be traced back to something else that is hidden? If FAFO is to become a brand that everybody wears, surely the devil who wants to be seen would want his brand to be spotted there. And that's how he operates. Apparently even BLM, there were some who quickly noticed that there's an anger and there's a need for a term that galvanizes people. And this term will be shouted by everyone, will be retweeted by everyone, will be hashtagged all over. And the whole world will see BLM, supposedly Black Lives Matter. But in that as well, we hear that no, Satan was already holding a domain name that is ready to be put out into the world when the time comes. When there's enough tension and confusion, he will put out another one of his brands and the black people will retweet it the world over. Are the white people currently playing Satan's game? Are they caught as well? Is FAFO the next satanic thing that you are not aware of? But I'll leave it there, Ronaldo. Thank you for what you shared. I hope you appreciate what I'm giving to you. I've told you that I suspect you to be somebody who was being initiated. If you thought that I was somebody who's just coming out trying to accuse you of outrageous things, I hope you now know and understand that I'm a Christian dude and I look at things and I scrutinize them. The Bible teaches us to test spirits, to discern them, to see where they come from. So I'm seeing a lot of coincidences, and maybe you're just a pawn in Satan's game and you don't know either what you're falling for. Maybe you joined a white supremacist cult, a gang, which I said that I suspect you did. I'm not sure of it, but one thing I do know is that people who have a strong hatred, they normally join a group, a gang of people who are filled with the same hatred. And those at the top of that gang know that they are running what seems to the members like a hate group. However, that hate is serving a particular demon. There's a spirit, there's a principality, there's a power that feeds on that hate and pumps more into those people. And so that's how hate enters the world. It comes from the spirit realm. Those who have some hatred in their hearts become attracted and they get closer to the spirit. So they get attracted to one another. One final last example. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, you remember a witch by the name of Babidi. And there was, in the Buu saga, there was that pink monster enemy who had an M. And that M was Majin. And Babidi was a magician, a witch, a wizard. Babidi saw two Saiyans, Vegeta and Goku, saw one to be stronger and the other one to be jealous. This seems to be a play on Cain and Abel. One had gymmed, become a Super Saiyan, become very strong, and the other one had a longing to become as powerful, as strong, as passionate. And Babidi, being a magician, knew that magic works with those who are already evil, those who are looking for this power, those who are looking for some kind of power. And so Babidi saw inside Vegeta's heart jealousy, the thirst for power, and a hatred for Goku. And he possessed him, and Vegeta became Majin Vegeta. That was Dragon Ball Z demonstrating witchcraft to you and how spirits are looking out for people with certain inclinations. So, my white dude, child of God over there, I will deal with you politically, but I will throw in these nuggets to try warn you, to try appeal to you, to say, yo, wake up, man. Do not become a fan of the world. The world will pass. It will be burnt. Your ideas, your ideologies, capitalism, Marxism, Leninism, they'll be cast in the fire as well in the last days. So live for something else other than being an extremist and a fanatic of titles, hopping onto them, putting them on your forehead, etc. You might just be putting on a Majin sign on your forehead. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this one. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.